Hello and welcome to the show. This is Sam-Erik and we are live from Helsinki, and we are now currently broadcasting between Helsinki and London. A very warm welcome. Now for the viewers now, I'd like to first of all thank all the live viewers. I know some of you are coming now in, and could you please write your name and where you are viewing from, and please give a thumbs up so we can create a little bit of a social interaction on this broadcast. So I'm really appreciate that you have taken the time to join in, and we have viewers from that you are here now on LinkedIn. We have viewers in Facebook. We have also viewers in from Periscope. So everybody, a warm welcome. Now, my guest today, I'm very pleased to invite a special guest, Filip Boyen, who is the CEO of Forbes Travel Guide. Now, Filip, we have met during some various events in Malta, and I was fascinated about his straightforward views about where the hospitality is moving and also where it should be in order to cater for the high-end market. But there are also other issues like the sustainability and etc. that we're going to touch on. So let me bring Filip here to the screen. So hello, Filip, and welcome to this segment of the Social Hotelier Show.
Hi, Sam-Erik. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's very nice that we could on this notice get you. I know you have had a busy schedule. You were in Las Vegas with the Star Awards, and I know you had a very busy year last year. But glad you have now. You looked like in a very relaxed mode, so you can have time to have a chat with me and the viewers.
Yes, I just came back from Vegas a few days ago, so I'm now back over the jet lag, so everything is perfect. Feeling good.
Excellent. We have some viewers now from Stockholm. Camilla from Stockholm is here, so hello, Camilla, warm welcome. And there are more and more people coming here. All right, so let's start then to take a look at the Forbes Travel Guide, and if you can share now with the viewers a little bit more about the business model. And you've been on board as a CEO now from 2019, and you've been really moving forward to make a huge impact in the market with the Forbes Travel Guide. So if you could share with us, so what is the Forbes Travel Guide all about?
Well, Forbes Travel Guide, first of all, was born in 1958 in the United States, and it was first named the Mobile Travel Guide. Currently, we are the only independent global rating agency in the world for hotels, restaurants, and spas. We verify luxury, and to us that means we champion, we support and celebrate all those with a passion for extraordinary service. We currently evaluate 2,000 hotels, restaurants and spas in 73 countries, so we are truly global. And when I say independent, what does independent mean? First of all, very important, our ratings are not for sale. They have to be earned. Our 55 full-time inspectors worldwide book, stay and pay like every normal guest would do in a hotel. So they remain totally incognito, and the hotel doesn't even know that they have been inspected. Forbes Travel Guide, we do not differentiate between small, large, independent or branded hotels. The design of the hotel can be ultra-modern, it can be lifestyle, it can be contemporary, it can be classic or timeless. We do not differentiate between the hotels. To give you an example, our Hotel of the Year, which was awarded last week, is a 20-bedroom hotel outside Vermont in Canada, and it's called Twin Farms, and it had a score of over 98%, which is quite exceptional. We announce our ratings once a year, and we just celebrated our award winners in our Verified Luxury Summit in Las Vegas. And the 700 top hoteliers present there are now calling this yearly event the Oscars of the hotel industry.
Wonderful. Is this now by invitation only for this event, or how does it work?
First of all, we invite the new 5-star winners which this year was 107 between hotels, restaurants, and spas. And then we also invite the owners and the general managers of the existing 5- and 4-star Forbes hotels. Yeah. So what do we evaluate in hotels? We evaluate 900 standards in total between hotels, restaurants, and spas. Of course, we inspect the quality of the hardware, the product, the cleanliness, and other aspects of the hotels, but 75% of our standards are about service, and especially the emotional and human components of service. It's all about how does the hotel make the guest feel. Only 268 hotels worldwide have achieved a Forbes 5-star rating so far. London leads the way with 19 5-star properties, followed by Paris and Macau with 13 each, and New York with 8.
Is this now by invitation only for this event, or how does it work?
Why is it so hard to achieve our 5-star awards? The hardest service classification to achieve is graciousness, thoughtfulness, and sense of personalized service. This is all about employees providing intuitive and anticipatory service. And I'll give you an example. Use the guest name at the right moment, not in every moment and not at every opportunity, but the right moment. Show genuine interest and concern for the guest, and deliver special requests seamlessly. We always say that if we make the guest work and think harder, luxury disappears.
That's a fantastic way of putting it, really.
And let me give you an example of what I mean by service. Last year, I started in October of 2018. So last year, I visited 330 hotels worldwide. I didn't say I stayed in all of them, but I visited them, met with the teams, with the general managers. So I went to Istanbul, and one of the problems when I stay in a certain city is that every night I need to move hotels because every hotel wants me to stay with them. And obviously, this is not the most easy way to get around. But anyway, so in Istanbul, I was staying at the Çiğran Palace, the Kempinski, beautiful hotel right on the Bosphorus. In the morning, I check out. I leave my luggage at the bellboys, and I was planning to come back at night after my meetings, pick up the luggage, and bring it to Raffles in Istanbul, where I was going to stay the next night. So in the afternoon, in the middle of the meeting, I get a little text from my butler at Raffles, and she says, "Dear Mr. Boyen, I've taken the liberty to move your luggage already from the Kempinski to our hotel, and I look forward to seeing you tonight. And by the way, can I unpack your luggage?" And I said, "Of course." So at night, I arrive in the hotel at 8 o'clock. I walk into my wardrobe in my room. There's all my suits. They are cleaned. They are pressed. There's my shirts. They are laundered. They are pressed. My shoes are polished. Beautiful. But you would expect that of great butler service.
Yes.
It's what you pay for. But then I walk into the bathroom and there's this little beautiful handwritten card and it says, "Dear Mr. Boyen, while I was unpacking your luggage, I noticed that your toothpaste was running low. So I took the liberty of replacing it with another tube," right? That for me is service. Service is not always about the big things. Service is about the little detail that delight you and that are memorable, right? And that is what creates loyalty in hotels.
And those are the most things that you probably remember for a very, very long time. You may not remember always what the room looked like, but that small moment that made you the impression will be with you for a very, very long time. And when you go back to that location or area, that is the hotel where you're going to probably stay at.
Totally, because last year I walked into a hotel, I think it was in New York, and it was 11 o'clock at night that I arrived. They knew that I was leaving at 7 in the morning. And in the room, I find a huge fruit basket. I find a bottle of champagne, a bottle of red wine, and a cocktail setup, because, of course, they found out that I like a good Hendrix and tonic with cucumber. So I had everything there to make my cucumber and my Hendrix and tonic. And then the next morning, I have a meeting with the general manager at 6:30 at breakfast. And I told the general manager, I said, "Guest preferences is wonderful, But if I'm arriving at 11 and I'm leaving at 7 in the morning, why do I need all this? And how, by the way, did you know that I was an alcoholic? So it's also very important that people think about these things, right? But anyway, so in addition to the official ratings, which is really our DNA, we also offer support services to our partners by means of in-person and online training. So our executive trainers are really the best. I am very, very proud of them. When we employ our trainers and when we recruit our trainers, obviously the normal qualities, as everybody would expect, a good number of years experience in top luxury hotels. They have to have excellent communication skills, people skills, but we are looking for a little bit more. We want them to be able to inspire, because this is the most important things with training, right? Yeah. Each training session is custom made for the client. And what is interesting is we do not train the standards. We train the why behind the standards. We explain to the employees why are these standards there and how do they work to the benefit of the client, which is very important. Also, and this is a reason why our training is so popular with fantastic brands like Four Seasons, Peninsula, Rosewood, etc., is that we never mention the word Forbes. So when we go to a client, and let's say we go to a Four Seasons hotel, it's all about Four Seasons. It's not about Forbes. We are simply there to enhance their quality of service and their service culture. And that is, of course, important.
Yeah.
We also do quality assessments. For example, there's a lot of hotels that say, Philip, we love the Forbes standards, but we want more quality assessments because one official rating per year is not enough. We want consistency of service throughout the year. And therefore, they ask us to arrange for 2 or 3 more quality assessments during the year so they can keep that consistency of service. We have also a department that develops standards. So, for example, there's a new hotel, and it could be independent, it could be branded, and the general manager calls us and says, listen, I have a little problem. I love the Forbes standards, but also we have brand standards, and also my owner has his own service philosophy. So can you help us and streamline all those standards together into one standard so I don't confuse my employees? Because obviously we've learned a long time ago by experience that if you have more than one standard, it's very hard for employees to deliver fantastic service because they need to know where they stand. They need to know what we ask from them, right? What we also do is we have expanded now into verticals because our training department usually and mostly trains service excellence. And of course, service excellence is universal. So we have over the last few years, we have expanded into verticals such as luxury retail, cruise ships, private clubs, care homes, high-end residential, and private aviation. So let's now talk a little bit. Maybe there is some questions that you need me to answer, or I'll move on to what the modern high-end traveler expects, needs, and maybe some trends.
Yeah, I just looked at LinkedIn here. We just have just some greetings. We have Max from Hellens from Helsinki who is viewing, and also Pius Furlong who is based in Dubai who was here. Yes, feel free now to add some comments or questions that you may have for Philip. This is no extra charge for asking the questions. This is the opportunity now to just ask. Absolutely. And you can be anything you have in mind. This is a time to ask, and that will help everyone who is viewing to kind of pick the brains now from Philip, who is taking the time to join us. But at the moment, I don't see any questions yet, so okay. Maybe people are thinking. So please continue.
So let's talk a little bit about sustainability and social responsibility, because they are certainly hot topics for the moment. Sustainability, social responsibility, first of all, they are no longer a thing that we should think about or should do. They are the right thing to do, and they are a must do. Promoting and marketing destinations is no longer enough. In the spirit of the marketing slogan of Patek Philippe, the famous watchmaker in Switzerland, we need to preserve and protect and look after our destinations for the next generations. Younger generations certainly take sustainability into account when booking rooms or planning their trips. And we all know that RFPs for MICE business, for large groups, conference and banqueting, already include questions as to how seriously hotels and venues are taking sustainability and giving back to the local communities. Travelers are more and more curious, and they want to discover the best the destinations have to offer. And I have always felt that hotels have to act as facilitators to make this possible. Concierge departments have a more and more important role to play. They are in a position to create and curate these experiences. They usually have a very deep knowledge and understanding of the hidden gems and the must-dos in their destinations. And if I can give an example of an exemplary concierge department, at the Lanesborough in London, for example, you have Simon Thomas. He used to be the president of the Clé d'Or, a very, very capable man. And let me give you an example. For example, at the Lanesborough, Mr. Jones usually visits the Lanesborough in London in August. And he books his stay usually a couple of months before, let's say in April. The concierge department, of course, knows that he usually alternates between Paris and London. So 1 year he goes to Paris, 1 year he goes to London. But obviously they want him to come every year to the Lanesborough in London. So what do? They know his preferences and interests. So they know that Mr. Jones likes classical music. He likes contemporary art. He likes theater. So what do they do around April when he's usually booking? They write to him and they provide him with a program of classical concerts, art exhibitions, and theater productions that will be available to him when he comes in August, right? So if I'm Mr. Jones, clearly it will be a tough choice for me to say I am not going to London, because I love this service, right? It is thoughtful, it is anticipatory, and I would be very surprised if Mr. Jones doesn't book his stay at the Lanesborough, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, it's very interesting how you talk about the very proactive concierge, because what I'm used to, unfortunately, going to some hotels, that they are sort of sitting in the corner behind the desk and they're waiting for someone to come and ask them for some help. And what you're talking about is very different approach to being a concierge these days.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. And that is in a lot of brands, the concierge department is under fire. Because exactly for what you just said, I mean, they are very reactive in their little corner, in the lobby, waiting for clients to come and make restaurant reservations, theater reservations. And I feel strongly that usually concierges are very wonderful characters, wonderful personalities. They know the destination inside out, and they are really in a position to help the hotel to lay the connections with the clients. And they should really not be behind that desk. They should be in the middle of the lobby. They should be greeting guests from the time they arrive. Yeah. And they should proactively offer their services and the experiences that they curated, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had an opportunity to last Saturday evening at the Kemp Hotel. There was the 40th anniversary of Clé d'Or Finland. And this was the first time I met all the concierge, and there are very outstanding personalities, all of them, and very sort of insightful of what's happening in Helsinki, and a lot of fun to be around. And I just want to see, this is a shout out to everyone who is viewing from Clé d'Or Finland, that you are a great concierge. I just hope you are seen as one of the angels and also truly the ambassadors of your hotel all the time. And it's a huge shout out to them, and I hope the message that Filip you are talking about also hits home to a number of hotels which maybe are looking at outsourcing their concierge services or something like that. I don't know, could that make sense at all?
No, for me it doesn't make sense at all, because an outsourced department will never have the service culture, will never have the culture of the hotel, they will never have the feel. For example, they don't know the guests, they don't know the preferences. I don't think it makes sense at all.
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously, for that not to happen, concierges need to really be more proactive than they currently are. And I'm sure they will do that because they are, like I said, wonderful characters most of the time.
Yes.
So we have the word experiences. The word experiences is overused. We know that it's a bit of a cliche, but then again, I haven't heard a better word to replace it. But what do I feel are the principles that describe the experiences that modern travelers are looking for? So simplicity, first of all, integrity, authenticity, educational, giving back to the community, connections with local personalities and characters, discover the local way of life, enrichment, adventure, and inner peace. Those are some of the, if I talk to travel advisors, and I ask them, what is it that your clientele wants and what is it that the younger clientele wants? These are some of the principles that they are looking for.
Yeah.
Another commodity that is becoming very, very popular is time and silence. That is the new commodity. Guests desperately want to unwind and recharge. Our lives are so busy that that is what they are looking for constantly. An example there, the new Equinox Hotel in New York. They make a 3-word promise on their website. And the 3 words are dark, quiet, cool. And I have stayed there, and it's quite remarkable because dark means dark in the room. So they have the perfect blackout curtains. You can't absolutely, there is not a slimmer of light that comes in. Then they have total soundproofing, total silence in the room. They have amazing all-natural beds. They have air purifiers. They have a sleep wellness program. And all this helps, of course, their guests to truly rejuvenate.
That's a great standard. I mean, Equinox, are they in the fitness
Yes.
business originally, and now they are into hotels?
And now they're getting into the hotel business. And it's an ex-president of Four Seasons that's running the company, and he's fantastic with a great sense of detail and a great sense of spirituality. So it's absolutely beautiful.
But I when you mentioned about this, that sometimes it's underestimated the importance of sleep. We all talk about we are not getting enough sleep, but now this brand is really taking it to the next level where they are really ensuring that you have the greatest, sorry for the word, sleeping experience, if you will, that you really have
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely, because let's not forget that's the main reason why we stay in a hotel, right?
Yes.
Is to sleep. So sometimes we forget a little bit to focus on that. Yeah. So wellness is a principle that means different things to different people. It's like luxury, right? For us, it's about cultivating our sense of inner peace and health. The spa is still an important hub of wellness, but it's no longer the only way that luxury travelers want to recharge. Enrichment and adventure is closely related to wellness. It's about cultivating our connections to the wider world through flavors, interactions, and adventure. These are experiences that are educational or expand the mind, activities that challenge us physically or mentally and help us understand other cultures or meet personal goals. Culinary tourism is still very popular, but it is no longer only about cooking classes, wine tastings, and Michelin-starred restaurants. It's about experiencing culture through food. And let's not forget that the most authentic local cuisine is found in people's homes. Yeah. I've seen in 2 or 3 hotels that what they do is the concierge finds very interesting personalities and characters in the destination. And I mean journalists, guides, politicians, writers. And then we offer the guests an experience where they can go to the home of these people, sit around the family table with the kids and the wife cooks a typical local dinner. The pets are there. And the guests, I tell you, the guests rave about it because it is truly to be connected with the local community in every sense of the word. In every sense of the word, because and then you have to make sure, of course, that those people are interesting and that they have interesting stories to tell, because it's also educational, it's cultural, it's culinary, it's all of these things.
Very
right?
good. You mentioned This is very good information. Now, Pius Furlong, who is based in Dubai, he's asking, in terms of up and coming locations, are there any that stand out?
I am just coming to that.
Okay.
Very good questions. I'm just coming here to popular destination for this year and looking forward. And I have to say that it fits in with what I said previously, and it's most destinations are a little bit off the beaten track. The modern traveler is looking for something new. Over tourism, as you know, is a big problem in our world. Venice is planning now to charge an entry fee for every visitor as of this season. And there is a lot of destinations like Rome, for example, the Spanish Steps from June to September. It's totally impossible. There's just thousands of people. But anyway, here are some of the popular destinations: Panama, Lebanon, Senegal, Egadi Islands of Sicily, Frisian Islands of Denmark, Salvador in Brazil, Armenia, Siargao in the Philippines, Tasmania, etc. Of course, Italy remains the number one destination for US travelers, and Greece happens to be the number one destination for millennials, right? Croatia, Antarctica are very fast emerging. And of course, this year, Japan, because of the Olympic Games, is going to be incredibly popular. We know that.
Wow.
Now, if we talk a little bit... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't see anything but the Nordics. Are they sort of forgotten? Is the Nordics and the Arctic Lapland forgotten, or is it?
No. Lapland, Iceland, and there's this little group of Denmark. So that is certainly not forgotten, right? Okay. Because if you follow, and I read a lot, all the reports and all the trend reports, I mean, there is 100 destinations, yes. Right? I'm just picking out the ones that are mentioned more often than others.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
Okay, when we talk a little bit about challenges now in our industry, first of all, the current coronavirus, I don't need to tell you what an effect it's having. If you have been following the stock markets, you know that it's hitting the worldwide economy also. But for example, I stayed in Hong Kong a couple of months ago in one of the best hotels ever built. And this was only the effects of the demonstrations in Hong Kong. And they were already at single digits occupancy. Okay. Today, because we are very closely in touch with Hong Kong and Macau especially, because the gaming industry is hurting as well, because they closed the casinos in Macau. And Hong Kong, yesterday I spoke to a GM, they're all at single digits. Every hotel is at single digit occupancy. ADRs have dropped by 30 to 50%. And of course, this is causing a lot of pressure on operating expenses, right? And I don't need to tell you what happens next. Because the problem is with the virus, we don't know where this is going to go. We have no light at the end of the tunnel. And it's the same with the demonstrations in Hong Kong. Paris has also suffered over the last year with the demonstrations. And I can tell you, it's difficult enough to run a luxury hotel. And I really feel for those people. And I really, our thoughts are with them, because it is a very, very tough situation, right? Another big challenge is the turnover of employees. I can tell you that last year in the 330 hotels I visited, the average turnover is around 38% worldwide, which is enormous, right? So that means a lot of the leadership is spending their time finding, recruiting, training, and retaining employees, right? It's a very, very tough challenge.
Yeah, I was just wondering that with such a turnover, what could be the reason? Is it something that they don't feel part of the organization, or they're not being really embraced about the culture of or what are the issues you see or you're hearing about? Why are people leaving the industry or moving away from a hotel?
Well, one of the reasons is that there are simply not enough the younger generation is not joining the industry in the same numbers as they used to, right? For example, I gave a graduation speech in Lyon University back in April. There was 380 graduates. And then it's heartbreaking to see that if you move forward by 2 years, only 12% of those are still going to be in the hotel industry. All right. A lot of them will still be in hospitality related industries, such as asset management, technology, finance, startups, etc., but not physically in the hotel business, right? Why is that? I don't think it's hard to find the reasons. It's much harder to find the solutions.
Yeah.
Because the younger generation has a sense of entitlement. And I can tell you, when I interact with them, I also do some MBA classes there. When I interact with them, they are hugely smart, very interactive, very engaged. I mean, it's really a pleasure to go there and practically negotiate with them, because it's hard, right? It's more than a conversation, because they have very strong ideas. But obviously, in our industry, we also know that we are not the best payers, especially at entry level. So that's one problem. The younger generation wants flexible working hours wherever possible. They don't like the fact that in the hotel industry, sometimes you have to work crazy hours and you have to work weekends, etc. So that's a problem. And of course, they all start in the hotel industry, but then they realize after a couple of months that that's not really for them. They can probably make more money somewhere else. And also, I think we need to make sure in the hotel industry that our progression of those people is faster than it currently is, because they simply don't have the patience.
Yeah.
When I was young and I started as a commis chef, I worked in Michelin star restaurants free of charge, just to have the experience and to have it on your CV. And today that mentality is different.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change.
No.
And if we want those people in our industry, and I can tell you we want them in our industry because they are hugely smart and engaged, then we need to change our ways. We need to change our ways, and we need to find solutions.
Yeah,
it's absolutely clear.
Yeah, I've been talking I was having a discussion with a recent graduate from one of the Swiss hotel schools also, and one of the key issues for many of the trainees who are graduate who are going into these programs is that they feel that they are left alone, that they don't feel that they are embraced by the leadership of the hotel, and one of the things that they said, well, they're not always being listened to. They're just left to be the training job as whatever they are assigned to do. So I'm not surprised that somebody is not going to stay in the hotel if they don't feel they're part of the team, if you will. And I think that's something that the leadership need to take on board. Have to, number one, listen to them, be empathy, and work with them. And because they probably have some great ideas, and then give them an opportunity to contribute to the hotel, even though as a trainee. That's where they can provide from outside looking in, coming from hotel school. They might have some great ideas and give them credit for what they're doing.
Absolutely true. I agree with that. On the other hand, if you have somebody coming from university and the university or the institute hasn't managed their expectations correctly and have told them, listen, you are now the world champion in the hotel industry, and he walks into your hotel and he sits in front of the general manager and the GM says, what do you want to do? Well, I come from Lausanne, I come from Glion, I come from Cornell. I want to be director of food and beverage. What do you think the GM is going to say, right? Yeah. The GM will then say to him the correct thing. Listen, you need to invest 12 to 18 months of your time. You need to go into the departments, into the hotel. You need to learn how they work. And not only how they work, but also what makes those people tick.
Yeah.
And this is a very important point. And I said that in my speech in Glion as well. You need to invest 12 to 18 months. Because if you're going to be a leader later on, you have to understand not only how these departments work, but what motivates the staff.
Yeah. May I just
this is the key issue.
Very good. I just want to say, give a shout out to a few people who are viewing us. Our mutual friends, Andrew Adjust Muscat in Malta is saying hello. And Jenaz from Cyprus. We had a
wonderful
discussion last week. So she says hello and warm regards. And also a special hello to Jouni Ahonen, who is Vice President from Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences. So he is based in Helsinki and a great friend of Malta also. So those are a few people we have watching.
Welcome. So, and lastly, I'm often asked, what role does technology play in luxury hotels? And in my view, technology, it's very simple. Hotels need to make a choice, right? And we rate only top hotels. We rate luxury hotels only. And our hotels, they need to make a choice. Is it going to be high tech or high touch?
Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't mean that technology and artificial intelligence cannot be used to help improve the guest experience. Of course it can. One example is collecting, processing data, guest preferences more efficiently, right? But what is for sure is that technology will never, ever replace the human connection.
Yeah.
And in luxury, it is all about human connection. Once you lose that, luxury absolutely disappears, right?
Yeah.
Because human connection for me is the foundation of extraordinary service. So I'm ready now to take some questions if you have some.
Well, yeah, Pius has a follow-up question. He had a question. Any thoughts on Saudi Arabia? Because Saudi Arabia has now opened up the country. They are aiming at to increase their tourism visitors. And any thoughts on the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a tourism destination?
Because we already do some work in Saudi Arabia. So I've been there 4 or 5 times over the last year. It is absolutely amazing what is happening there. And I don't think it will ever happen. I don't think it's ever happened, and I don't think it will ever happen again. That a country is investing so much into tourism because, in Saudi, they have the Vision 2030. So they plan to have 30 million visitors to Saudi Arabia by 2030. There is 5 or 6 mega projects going up. I think in total 160 to 170 hotels are going to be built over the next 5 to 7 years. It is absolutely amazing. They are going to have to train between 500,000 and 1 million people. His Highness, the Prince, is very, very, very much behind those projects. There is an energy there that is, I can't quite compare it with anywhere else. It is super, super exciting. We, of course, want to play our part there. Every big hotel brand already has signed contracts there. They have the most beautiful project, in my eyes, is the Amala project, which is a group of islands off the coast, which is comparable with the Maldives.
Oh.
That's the level of beauty and attraction that they're going to create. They also have a cultural project, which is very close to Jeddah, which is called Dereya, which is the birthplace of the country, so very important to them. And then various other projects. So I think it's super, super exciting. Super exciting.
Very good. Well, that should encourage people who are looking for projects with consultants in various interior or architects. There's an opportunity
Absolutely.
there. So plenty of things to do there. Very good. And Shanaz says that I prefer high-touch hotels rather than high-tech. That's she just gave a feedback on your earlier comment about high-touch to high-tech.
That's good. I like it when people agree with me.
Shanaz had some very interesting input about the new generation travelers, that they say that they don't mind staying in a very luxurious hotel that has been converted to have bunk beds, and so they sleep with their buddies, but then it's flash packed. They have the very expensive backpacks and have the latest digital gear, and they eat in very good restaurants, but not necessarily looking for the super duper individualistic luxurious accommodation experience, but they prefer to be with their friends. What do you think about that?
No, I'm totally in agreement, because that's exactly how it works now.
Yeah.
Some of them want all the bells and whistles, of course, but most of them want to have a great experience and a great adventure with their friends. And the place where they stay is not, at the end, not the most important.
Yes.
And we need to take that into consideration as well.
Yeah.
More and more, we're going to have division between our clients. It will be very clear that those clients want bells and whistles, want full luxury services, etc. But there will be, and that's why lifestyle hotels, to be honest, are becoming much more popular.
Yeah, yeah.
And boutique hotels as well, because boutique hotels are sometimes in a position to offer a more personalized and more intimate experience than bigger hotels.
Yeah.
And this is also what younger travelers like. And boutique hotels are also much more embedded in the destination. When I was running small luxury hotels, we had a lot of hotels that had been handed down generation after generation. So there's a lot of history and culture there. And people can feel that when they walk into the hotel. There's a real sense of belonging and a real sense of homeliness that they really adore, right?
Yeah. How much of your people who are following what the Forbes Travel Guide provides in terms of different hotels and so on, where's the baby boomer fit in there? Is that the ones who have plenty of time and they are relying on looking at the hotels that you are rating in order to choose the destination, or how do you see the importance of the baby boomer, for instance?
But it's an even mix of the visitors we get to the Forbes Travel Guide website. It's an even mix between baby boomers, millennials, and younger generations, because there was a study done last year in November in the States. They interviewed 25,000 high-end travelers worldwide. And what was interesting, what was a total surprise to me, was there was more younger generations that asked for help from travel advisors than baby boomers. Because baby boomers, they have seen it all, they have traveled, they are more savvy, I think, than the younger generation. So they like to do it more online, etc. I was really surprised, because my idea was that baby boomers would more and more ask the help of travel advisors, but that's not the case. So it's very interesting.
No, I know this. I mean, you're talking now with a baby boomer who likes to do live videos. So it's these days it's we like to live for the moment and using high tech, but we still have that.
Absolutely.
The difference is that we knew telex machine and we knew fax machine, and now, which is I used to receive bookings from clients with a telex, but. We just have to live with the time.
Those days are over.
Yeah. Very good. I think we have these are the key questions that came out of this segment. And Filip, I'd really like to thank you so much for taking the time, and you provided so much value. And for the viewers and for the replay viewers, if you have any comments, please write down in the comment any feedback you'd like to give. I will share that with Filip, because I think it's good to continue the discussion about this topic. There's a lot of things. First, we learned about what Forbes Travel Guide and the different services you are providing in terms of the academy and training about the standards. And there are certain hotel chains that are like to have you inspect them 4 times, 5 times a year to ensure that they are maintaining the standards. We also talked about the needs of the high-end traveler, and also the experiences that is the thing. One of my favorite topic was about Concierge, because I was last week involved with Concierge, and I know one very well-known concierge in Los Angeles. She has a Ask Concierge name on Instagram if you're watching from Los Angeles. So big hello from here also. And they talk also about that the proactive approach about Concierge. So that's very good feedback you are giving, and also those lovely locations I have to put in my bucket list to visit, and we all have to watch.
Absolutely.
So,
and in terms of hotels, just a few facts here. So the company with the most 5-star Forbes hotels, not surprisingly, is Four Seasons, right? They have 44 5-star Forbes hotels. Then there is a few companies that have all 5-star. That means every single one of the hotels in the company is 5-star Forbes. One of them is Peninsula. They have 10 hotels. All of them are 5 stars. And they've just been joined by the Mayborn Group here in London, because the Mayborn has Claridge's, Barclay, the Connaught, and they recently bought the Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills, and all 4 of those are 5-star. And then when it comes to boutique hotels, it's a company called Red Carnation. that achieved in very small hotels, but beautiful hotels with incredible service. This year they got another 3 5-star hotels, which was quite amazing. 1 in Ireland and 2 more in London. So those are just a few facts of the top companies. The spas, the 5-star spas, most of them are in Mandarin Oriental. Mandarin Oriental is really good at running spas. And then restaurants are basically all over the place. But in Macau, there's the most 5-star Forbes restaurants.
Okay. Now, Shenaz is asking, what is true luxury for you, Filip?
Well, that's very difficult. Shehnaz always asks difficult questions. I mean, true luxury for me is all about service. It's all about service. It's about feeling great in a hotel. It's about being the possibility of being and the opportunity of being yourself in a hotel and not to feel pressurized by anybody in the hotel. In a restaurant, for example, great service for me and luxury is a waiter that does not interrupt you 5 times during dinner and interrupts your conversation and asks if everything is okay, because that is something that makes me very mad. But I think it's about the ability of being yourself and to receive excellent service when you need it. When you need it. And people need to be trained very, very thoroughly, because it's all about body language. An excellent server, only by looking at the person, he knows. Does he need something? Does he not need something? Does he want me to come over? Does he not want me to come over? It's all about body language,
yes.
About reading people, right? So service for me, there is absolutely no doubt.
Very good. We talked earlier about when I grew up in the industry. One of my jobs was to write the sequence of service. So how should you greet the guest? And my favorite stories from the time I was in the pre-opening stage in the hotel. And so I wrote, according to the standards of the company, that in the morning you say good morning, sir, madam. And so I put sir / madam, meaning that the staff would then address the person either sir or madam. But the way the staff learned it is they just called everybody sir, madam. So it leads me to that unscripted to scripted. You mentioned about the personalities should come out more than having scripted.
Totally, because that's also one of our standards. For example, the staff and the employees in a hotel in China or in Burma or in New York, they should act differently. We hate scripted language. We hate that, right?
Yes.
Because we talk about sense of place. Sense of place, yes, it can happen through design, it can happen through amenities, but it mostly comes through people,
yes,
right? And people need to show their character, their personality. They need to share their way of life with the customer. And that, for me, is sense of place. So they have to greet and they have to talk to the clients in a very different way, taking into account the culture of the destination they are, right?
Very good. Now here is a question from Karina C. She's Assistant Guest Relations Manager. How to succeed in the hotel industry and not get burnt out, especially for female leaders? That was her question. Any comment on that?
Well, I think that female leaders, if I look around and I go to older hotels, there is a huge increase in female leaders, first of all, right? And probably the men are not going to like what I say, but we all know when I was with Orient Express, I put about 3 or 4 general managers, female general managers, one at the Copacabana, which, by the way, is still there, Andrea Natal, and various others. And they were fantastic because they have a great sense of detail, number one. And usually they are much better at HR, at human resources. Yes. They know how to treat staff, they know how to motivate staff, and that doesn't mean that they're weak. Certainly not, because they can have an iron fist. But I think there is a great future for female leaders. And to be honest, when I was at universities in Lyon, I must say that probably 55% of the ladies of the students were ladies. So I think there's an absolutely great future for ladies. It's a tough job. We all know that, but it's a tough job for men as well, and
Yes.
women can handle it. So I can't see any problem whatsoever for the future of ladies in the hotel industry.
Well, on that note, I think we will say thank you very much, Filip, for this hour we have been together discussing about hospitality, the challenges and the opportunities. So thank you very much, and I'd like to thank all the viewers and all the replay viewers, and I'd like to again say hello to Pius. Thank you for your questions. Janaz, as usually, having the tough questions for Filip. And then Karina, thank you very much for giving your input. And also Max von Hellens in Helsinki and Camilla Sandström in Stockholm, Sweden. So thank you very much for joining. And all the ones who of some reason, I maybe didn't see your comments, but my apologies. I will answer them when I read through the replay to give any kind of feedback and share that with Filip. So we will close this thing. So Filip, thank you very much. It's been great. I learned a lot as usual by being with you, and look forward to having a chat in the future.
No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody, for dialing in, and thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.